Hi friends, welcome to WebCham. In this video, I am going to discuss a Power Automate, how we can create a flow that is a cloud flow, and the task is send an email using Power Automate. So as we know, Power Automate can be used to automate the cloud flows or desktop flows, or we can schedule the flows at specific intervals so that it should execute automatically. So here we are going to use the instant cloud flow. When to use the instant cloud flow, right? So whenever you want to click on the button and then your flow should run, in that case we will use instant cloud flow, right? So it's up to you how you want to execute. If you want to do the execution of flow on the specific event, like receiving an email, if you have received any email, then you want to execute the flow, you can do that also. So in that case, we will not pick instant cloud flow, because event is going to happen automatically, that is on the cloud. We don't know at what time we will receive the email. So we will select automated cloud flow in that case. Another one is scheduled cloud flow. If you know all the files are saved at specific interval or between 1 week, like Monday to Sunday, and next Monday you have to process that files, or you have to send the reminder, whatever you want to do. So in that case, at a specific interval, if you want to do any specific task, you can use scheduled cloud flow, because this is just about the selection of type of flow. So here we have selected instant cloud flow. Okay, that is fine. I'll go and I will say instant cloud flow triggered manually as needed. This is what I want to do. But there are different types of triggers. You can see when Power BI button is clicked for a selected row, when a row is selected in Excel, for a selected item in SharePoint. When item says, you can refer to the SharePoint list. When file says, you can refer to the SharePoint folder. Right. This is for the OneDrive for the business. Same thing is there. For a selected message, V2. Right. So for the teams also you can use. Right. For when Power Apps calls a flow. So this is also meaning we can integrate the Power Automate with the Power Apps also. Right. But here what I want is when I click on the button, this flow should start the execution. Flow could be anything as per your need. Here I am going to send an email. But this is fine. So I selected this. I will give the name here. Name of the flow is email test. Okay, this is what my flow. I will say create. Okay. This is the flow designer window. So here you need to add the next actions. When button is clicked, when someone is clicked on the run flow, what will be your first action? So you need to define here the action. For me, the action is send an email, right? So what type of actions we have, we will see here. Okay. So here like AI capabilities, run a prompt, respond to the agent, process document. So like this, we have document processing, extract entities from the text, extract entities with the text. So like this, meaning if you want to extract some kind of information from PDF and all, so you will be able to do that. Then build in tools. So we have some data operations, flow button for mobile, date time, controls, conditional statements, HTTP request you can send. This is a premium. To use this, you need a premium license, right? Then request, it's used for the scrapping. Okay, text functions are there, variables are there, right? So all these falls under the built-in tools. We will explore each and everything as and when we need it. Okay. So connectors, you will be able to see here the connectors. So by connectors, again, you can define the actions. Okay. So here, what I need is I want to send an email. So I will go to the Office 365 Outlook because I'm going to use this one to send an email. So send an email, you need to find the appropriate action here. I selected the application, but what kind of actions you can perform? Get email v2. So all these are you need to understood one by one, and when then you can define what to use at what time. So here I'm going to send the email, so I will select send an email v2. Right. So I selected v2, meaning the action is selected now, but you need to define the parameter. Obviously you are going to send an email to whom you wants to send an email. You need to enter the name of the people. Okay, this is fine. I will say I will use this. I would like to send an email to the Pallavi. Subject, I will say test email. And here I'm not going to specify anything. I'll just say hi. And this is test email. Let's say thanks from the web jam. Right. So this is what I defined here. I defined to whom email should go. I defined what is the subject. I defined what is the body. I will go and say save. Okay. So obviously, whatever the parameters you have inputted, you need to save that. Whatever the actions you have added to the flow, you need to save that. Okay. Do not forget to save, otherwise you will lose your work. Right. Now what I did is my task is very simple. Send an email. So I added an action. I defined a property. Now I would like to test the flow. Okay. So this is a manual flow. So there are no runs for this flow. Why? Because we selected manually triggered flow. So I will select this manually and I will say test. Now it will check for the Outlook permissions. I already given the permissions. In your case, if you are new to this Office 365 application using in the Power Automate, then first time it will ask for the permissions. Okay, then say continue. And now here you can see the status also. When the flow is executed, here you can see this is succeeded, this is also succeeded. In case if it gets failed, you will be able to see the error messages here for the specific action. Now if I go to the Outlook, okay, nothing is there in my inbox, nothing was there in my sent box. So here, this is what the email just now at 7:55 a.m. We are at 7:56 a.m. on 29th May 2025. The email is triggered, right? So Power Automate can send an email, but it's not like that. Now we will send an email, static email to the peoples, right? So we saw how we can select the trigger, how we can add the action, how we can define the parameters. Now it's time to create a flow that is dynamic, right? Meaning, you will not, or nobody is going to send an email to the same person with as a reminder or as any specific task. So we need to send an email that will be a dynamic, that should be from one of the data set. Okay, so what we will do is, here we can use the any type of data set, like you can use the Power BI as a data set, you can use the OneDrive, you can use the SharePoint. From wherever you want to access the data, you can access the data, but you need to remember that if you are using an Excel file, Power Automate reads the data only from the table, not from the range, right? So here I would like to add the action in between. Let me go to this. Okay, I will show you that. Okay, so here you can see I have a Power Automate folder in my OneDrive for business I'm using. You can use the personal OneDrive also. I will show you. In the data, you can see I have a one Excel which is of 12 KB size, and yes. So let me delete this. This is not required. But let's say I want to send an email to these three people. I want to send an email to these three peoples from my organization with their details in the table. We can customize. I will show you how we can customize and all. But yes, so tentatively just consider that we are going to send email for all these three persons with their details, right? So let me say close. This is an Excel file I am going to read. As I said, we need to use the OneDrive connector. I'm using OneDrive for the business. So you need to select the OneDrive for the business. Let me say back and edit the flow. In between, you have an option to add the actions, right? So here, I would like to read the data like list rows present. Okay, this is the action name. I'm not searching. Okay, you can go by the app also. So you can simply say OneDrive. It will give you the list of OneDrive for business, right? And if this is not sufficient, then you can say see more, and here you will get the list of. So what I want to do is list files. I don't want to do that. Okay, so I want to read the data not from the directly OneDrive. So I would like to do the operation on Excel. Okay, I came out of the designer. Okay, see, this is here. So if I say Excel, okay, so I'm going to read the Excel, but Excel from OneDrive business, or I can say table from OneDrive. So you need to search for the action, then and then only you will be able to. You need to wait until this gives the result. Otherwise, you will not be able to add the actions. Okay, so let me go. Okay, so here you can see that Excel online business. This is what the you need to use. Okay, I was just trying to find this by using Excel, but somehow this is not loading the more result. So let me pick it from the by connector so you can do so. Okay, here you have a list rows present in a table, right? Because we are going to read data from a table. So I selected this. Now this will ask for what is the name of Excel and select the table, because in one Excel, we can have any number of tables. Let me change the connection. That's why it is giving me this message. Fine. So now we have to select the properties, right? So here I will select the location is OneDrive for the business. In that there is a library name. You can have multiple libraries. We don't create ideally, but yes, we can have the multiple libraries in OneDrive. Then you need to select the Excel file. Okay, let's go to the file. The file is on the desktop in the content folder. So the hierarchy you need to follow in the data analysis, then MS platform. This is what how I organized my data, and then Power Automate. Inside the data, we have a Excel file. So now next is you need to select the table, and here it reads the table, all the table names from the Excel, whatever the Excel file you have selected. I have only one, that's why it is showing one. So on top of that, if you want to do some modifications, you can filter the query by using filter. You can sort the data. You can top count, skip count, select query you can use, or date format you can do. So all these actions you can perform along while reading the data, but I don't want to do anything at this moment, right? So now we have the data in the form of table, right? Now I would like to send an email, not to the specific person. I would like to send an email to the person which is listed in this table. So what I can do is you can click on this drop down or go to the setting icon, use dynamic content, and then here you will see this kind of icons. So first one is used to enter the data from previous step. So you can also select the data from previous step. Okay. So here you can see that this is a step name, list row present in a table, right? So this is what the step name. From this, I can pick the email address. From this, I can pick the email address. Okay. So internally, it defines the parameters. If you want to see the definition, how it works, so go to the insert expression, and from here, you can select the email. So this is the so this is the definition. Okay. Items from the previous step. For each item, the question mark indicate the next level. Item of, and then column name. Okay. Each item or for the current item. This is the email. The moment I add the expression like this, okay, you need to use this add button or update button here while making the changes. Then and then only you will be able to do this, right? So I clicked here. Now the definition is different because we used a functional language here, but yes, the output remain same. I will say details of, and then I can enter the employee ID here. And let me say employee ID, right? And now I would like to enter the name here. So what I can do is I can say hi space, then go to this and name, right? This is what giving me the name. But here I would like to send the data in the form or all the data. So what I can do is I can go here and I can say current item. But when you say current item, what it will does, it will add the data to the email. But you don't want to add the data in that format. But let's see the output of that. Then we will go to the next challenge. The moment I used the items here, email ID here, name here, current item here, automatically Power Automate will add a for each loop, because we are going to perform all these actions for each and every row which is present in this table. So now I'm done with my definition, right? Again, you can see that the way I selected earlier email, this is how it populated, but I selected this in a different way just to show you the definition. Okay, this is what my flow. Now my data is dynamic, right? It is coming from the Excel. It is fine. So now I want to send a 3 emails, not a single one. Okay, let me delete this. Here, if I come here, I will go and I will say this. I will say test the flow, right? Manually, because we are not going to perform any action on this. All Excel online business already signed in. I already signed in, but in your case, you might need to sign in for the first time and then run the flow. Now see the output. Just see the output here. Okay, done. Here you will see green ticks. Yes, this. All the actions are successfully completed. And you can see the details of 101, the employee, ID is, name is, email ID is, designation and department is IT, right? You are able to get the data, but the data is not in the format we want, right? I want to send the data in the table format, and obviously everyone wants to do this because nobody will send the data in this format. This is a JSON type data, or we can say the dictionary type data. People will hate the data if you send the data in this format, because nobody will go and read the data in this format. So what I want to do is I want to create a table. But how to create a table? Now this is the challenging thing in Power Automate. So there is no way, direct way to create the table. But yes, there is a action. There is a action that you need to select. Okay, and you need to select the action here in for each loop to create the table. But how to create the table? So I will say create table. Okay, now this will load the data, but I don't want to create a table in the Excel, right? I don't want to create, I want to insert a table in the email, and here for that purpose you need to use the data operation. You can select this one, create HTML table, because you want to send the data on the web. So web understand the HTML language, and yes, so you need to select this option if you want to send the data in HTML table. So you can go to the data operation here. From here, you can select this, right? So now here, whatever the data we read from Excel, that will be picked as an object, not an array. Array is a list of values. Okay, but here you need to pass an array. Here you need to pass an array. So what I will do is I will create a expression. Okay, I want to pick the outputs of a specific step. What is the step? What is the step? So here I want to pick the output of list underscore. So every space can be recognized as a underscore in Power Automate present in a table. So this is a step name. What I did is I just added the step name. I'm not doing something new. This is the output, but this output again returns the type of object as a, I mean, output as an object, data type as an object. I want to convert the object to array. So I will use this create array function of PowerFX and I will say done. This is what you did, but columns you need to specify how you want to, whether you want to do automatic columns, or you may want to give the name for the column and then what value it should purchases you need to tell. So I will say employee ID. Okay, so in any number of columns you can add. I will say name. Here I will pick the name. Here I will pick the email. I'm just going to send the details, all the details, name, email. So this is the email. Designation. Here I can say designation. Headers I'm entering as a text, but value I'm picking from the previous step. And here department. Yes. So designation department. Okay, fine. So this is how I defined columns for my create HTML table. This is fine. Now we know what we want to do here. So in the email, I would like to send the output of create HTML table step or action, right? So instead of passing the current item will return the data in the form of JSON. I would like to pass the data in the form of table, right? So here I will say outputs of then create HTML table. Here you can write whatever you want. So I can say, hi there, please find below your updated details. Let's say you, in your organization, the promotions happens for the 100 peoples. Who is going to send the email one by one, right? So you can automate here, you can load the data into the OneDrive and then trigger the flow that will send to all the peoples, right? So this is how we can do the automation. So yes, so we have added a dynamic content here, but still let's run and see the output. Until we see the output and we will not make ourselves happy, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, here you can see that, okay, it is returning a data, it is returning a data in the form of table, but again that is like a body. So why we don't go and pick the output as a body? Okay, so I don't want this body to come. So how we can do that? So what I can do is, okay, here if I come, let's go to edit the flow. We have reached to the final stage. Yes. So here we specified as a output. Okay. Instead of this, if I say the output, so you can pick the output, create HTML table output here. So this will be the same as the I used earlier. Okay. So let's pick the body and what is the definition parameters I should pass here as a create HTML table output. No, I don't want to add this here. Let's cut this. And here I want to add the output. Let's write expression for this as a body. Create HTML table output. Yes. So now let's save the flow and test it. So output method returns the object. That's why now body method returns the data for my understanding. Let's see what will be the output. Okay. Body is returning. Earlier we were getting the output like body and then, but body is returning. So we extracted a body. But this table don't have the border and all. You do not have a scope here to uh, design the table in the HTML, create HTML table. You don't have a scope here, but you have a scope to edit this, right? But where to edit? Here you can see the last icon. This is the HTML code generated. And for your output, output is nothing but a table. It is going to return a table, right? Because this is the output of HTML table. So you need to enter the HTML properties. Okay, let me say this. Then this is the paragraph. This is the paragraph. This is the output. This is the thanks, and then on new line web champ. This they have completed everything in single. So now I would like to add the style. So I can add the style anywhere. I can say Control C. So for the th, for the table, we can add, but you should know the HTML. Otherwise, you can use the code from the chat GPT and you can get your job done. So let me pick the HTML code. Okay, I think I need to find it out. I know I can design, but it will take a time. So like this, you should have the table tag. Close the table tag. Inside this, you can add the property, but I would like to use the style tag here because I'm not going to define the inline properties. I'm going to define the properties in different way. So this, okay, inside these table th css, I am going to define here. And let's say this is a table th and td tags directly comes from the create HTML table step. Here we are just adding a border of 1 px solid. Instead of black, I will say red. Border collapse. Padding of 5 pixel is fine. Right, and let me say save. Now you can see the output of this step. But yes, if you want to do a more customization on the email side, email formatting and all, you need to use the HTML language. Here you can see that this is what I did. I just changed the color to show you. And yes, I am able to send the data from any data source. Here I picked only one as a list rows from many online Excel I picked, but you can get the data from SQL Server, you can get the data from Oracle database, you can get the data from the Azure databases, you can get the data from any other type of connectors. Those are available with the Power Automate, and do this kind of automation for sending the email, right? So this is all about the sending the email. So yes, so every time, meaning before completing a flow, you need to test. We tested it a couple of times to see if any stage throws the error, but yes, we are succeeded to create a flow. And now this flow can be, you if you go to the my flows, you can see the this flow. You can run the flow from here. You can run the flow from any other application, but your environment should support the APIs. Otherwise, it is always better to click, come and click here. So whenever you want to, whenever your data gets updated, you can update the data in the Excel file and just say run from here. You will be able to send an email to the n number of people within a fraction of a second using the Power Automate. So I can say, I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day. Please do not forget to subscribe webcam. Thank you. Happy learning.